It is Sunday. It's going to be a busy week. It's been a busy weekend and I need to meal prep some stuff. And I thought, let's try pizza. And I usually meal prep pizza anyway. I always make up a huge batch of fathead dough and store it in my freezer, or it keeps in the fridge really well too. But I was thinking, actually this is my husband's idea. I should give him some credit. We were thinking like, what if we just actually made our own frozen keto pizzas? You can make up a huge batch, make them all up, add your toppings and freeze them. So that's what we're doing today. And if you guys haven't tried my pizza recipe before, you should, because I get a ton of good reviews on them. People love this pizza crust. It is so good and it freezes really well too. It bakes up really well and the macros are great on it. It doesn't even taste like it's keto. It's really good. But I'm going to go over all that information at the end of the video. We'll talk about macros. But yeah, let's get started. Let's make some pizza. To start, I'm going to melt up some mozzarella cheese because this is a fathead dough recipe. So you're going to need, it's around 10 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese, which is about 3.5 cups, somewhere in there. If you want to get technical with it, use a scale and measure out 10 ounces. And I'm going to melt it in the microwave. I like to put it in the microwave at 60-second intervals, stirring it in between until it's melted. If you don't want to use a microwave, just cook it on the stovetop, put it in a non-stick skillet, and it will melt that way too. My next step is to add everything to a food processor. This makes making fathead dough so easy. If you add everything in there and let the food processor mix it up, everything will get evenly incorporated. I'm doubling this recipe actually, I should say. So back up a second. We're not adding 10 ounces. We're going to add 20 ounces of cheese because I want to make 2 pizzas. So for doubling the recipe, for the almond flour, we're going to add 3 cups of almond flour. Normally it'd be 1.5 cups if you're just making 1 pizza. And then you're also going to need 2 eggs, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 2 teaspoons of xanthan gum. Xanthan gum is just there to add some additional support and structure. So you could get away with not using it, but I just like to use it just to make sure that the pizza dough holds together well when you lift up your slice, basically. And then some salt, so it's a teaspoon of salt. You could add other ingredients too, like onion powder, garlic powder, Italian seasoning, if you like to have a flavored crust. So putting that in our food processor, we mix it up until you see that dough balls start to form around, and then your dough is ready and you can mold it. And I like to roll it out in between 2 sheets of parchment paper. It makes it so much easier, and roll it out with a rolling pin, or you could use your hand too. It's just going to take longer. I also like to fold in my edges a bit just to have that little beveled crust like a regular pizza has. I'm also pricking the bottom of my crust just because I don't want to have any risk of it bubbling up when it bakes. And then the sauce I'm using, you can use Rayo's marinara sauce. There's other different low carb brands out there that you could use of marinara sauce. If you don't have that, just use tomato sauce, but look for one that's like lowest in carbs possible. And then add your toppings, add your cheese. I'm gonna make a pepperoni one. I also wanna make one that has some veggies in there too, just because I wanna see how it'll freeze, but whatever toppings you wanna add. When it comes to making pizzas, I like that we can customize them. My kids usually like pepperoni, but I like that I could add on some extra vegetables or proteins on there just to fit my taste and get a little extra nutrition. But even on a perfect diet, you can still lack key nutrients that your body needs on a daily basis. That's why I like to supplement. On days when I'm having a keto pizza or maybe like keto pancakes or something like that, where I don't really get like a ton of vegetables or a ton of nutrients, a huge variety, that's where my supplementation comes in. I recently discovered a new brand of vitamins called Ritual. Ritual is a specially formulated multivitamin for women ages 18 plus. All you do is take 2 of them a day. It contains 9 nutrients. There's no fillers, colors, shady additives. You know exactly what you're getting. The main reason why I love these Ritual multivitamins is because they contain an active form of folate. For myself, I have 2 of the MTHFR gene mutation, so my body does not do a good job of converting folic acid into the active form of folate that my body can use. That's why I have to supplement with multivitamins that contain the active form of folate, which Ritual does. And since I've partnered partnered with Ritual for this video. They're gonna extend a special offer for you guys to try their product. Right now, you can get 10% off your first 3 months. Check out the link in the description box. There'll be a special code that you can use too, so you can get this discount. Now, when it comes to freezing these, I like to use a little cardboard support like that you would find in a freezer pizza. So you could either save them from a previous pizza that you had gotten from the store, or you can make your own circular cardboard and just slide it underneath there. It just allows you to lift up that pizza easily when you go to put it in the freezer. And from here, you can either choose to wrap it in plastic wrap, or what I did was put it in a Ziploc bag and just pressed out the air. And then we freeze them. These are ready to go in the oven now. Look at how well they froze though. This is so perfect. Then to bake your pizza, all you do is just slide your pizza on top of a baking tray or a pizza pan. You can leave that parchment paper underneath it, but just ditch the cardboard circle because you don't want to cook that on that. I've made that mistake before. It does not work. It burns. And then bake it in the oven, 400 degrees. While our pizza is cooking, I thought we would go over the macros for this keto pizza dough. I'm not including the toppings just because it'll vary on whatever you want to put on your pizza, so you're gonna have to calculate that yourself. But if you have 8 slices, if you get 8 slices out of this pizza crust, just the crust alone is gonna be 241 calories, 19.8 grams of fat, 12.8 grams of protein, total carbs is 5.8, and the net carbs is 3.5 grams. Now I do wanna say, of course, it's probably going to vary based off of like what type of mozzarella cheese you use, whether you're using like whole milk or skim milk cheese. That's going to make a difference in your carbs. I think everything else should probably be the same. But I think the macros on this are pretty good, especially when you're craving pizza and you want one that's authentic. The pizza has been in here for about 12 minutes. I still feel like it has a little ways to go. 3 more minutes. While we're waiting for those last 3 minutes, I do want to kind of give you guys some tips that I have when it comes to making keto pizza. First off, you notice that I did not pre-bake my crust. That's optional. That's great for if you are the type of person that just loves crispy crust and you just like that crunch in your mouth, I guess, or like to be able to lift it up. I mean, this pizza, you can still lift the pizza up too, but if you really just want that hard, rock solid crust, then I recommend pre-baking your crust. And you can still pre-bake it and then add your toppings and freeze it. That will still work. I don't like to go through the hassle of that. I like the crust just how it is. I'm more of like a fan of doughy crust compared to just like rock solid pizza crust. So this recipe is the way that I like to do it, just adding your toppings and baking it on the raw dough. The other thing you could do is make some pizza pockets out of these, and I do have a recipe for keto pizza pockets. I've made a video before on it. I'll have it linked down below for you guys if you're interested in that too. Now, when you get to this stage in your dough, you can stop right now if you want to. If this is all the energy you've put into it, you don't want to go anymore, or you just don't have time, you could either just keep the dough ball, wrap it in plastic wrap, put it in a Ziploc baggie, store it in the freezer or the fridge. It'll stay in the freezer for longer. Fridge, it'll keep for maybe like 5 days or so. Or you could roll it out, flatten it out, and store sheets of rolled out pizza dough just like that. Just stack them up, put them in the freezer, just put some sheets of parchment paper in between them so they don't stick together, and that works too. But we're gonna take that extra step, actually add the toppings to our pizza, and create a frozen keto pizza. Wowzer. This turned out so perfect. And the crust is a little doughy, but I think it will hold up once it sets for a little bit. I could possibly put it back in here for another minute or two. I just would risk maybe cooking the top part a little bit too much. So let's try that. So good. Crust is just perfect on the outside. Still kind of doughy, just how I like it. Now I'm going to bake my combination style pizza. As you can see, the veggies, this one might have had a little bit too much air in it. So you can see the top of it got a little bit of moisture in it because it was only in the freezer for a couple of days, but that's probably my fault. I probably didn't get all the air out of there like I should have. But it could just be the nature of the fact that there's vegetables on this pizza. And we're gonna cook this at the same oven temperature, 400 degrees, for around 15 to 17 minutes. combination pizza is out of the oven, and it took a couple more minutes to cook through. I don't know if it was because of the vegetables, but this one was in here for, oh, that's hot, 19 minutes. Making your own frozen keto pizza totally works, and it's definitely going to beat anything that you would buy in the grocery store. And we've all done it. We've all purchased those keto pizzas in the grocery store, but like honestly, like they're not as good as they could be, and this is the next level up. So if you guys are missing some good homemade pizza, just make your own and meal prep it and make frozen pizzas.